And good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Highside Hustle. My name is Bert Adam. Alongside me is Adam Rubright, and our producer Chris Graham is out there somewhere in space as well. And boys, we had a show lined up that we thought we could have this spaced out with some news here, but something broke here earlier in the afternoon, and we'll get to that in just a second here. But Adam and Chris, we got a great show lined up here. We'll talk about our first guest here in just a second here, but. We have Mike Wagner coming on the show. Picked up a win last year at Port Royal, his first one since 2014. So it's going to be really fun to talk to him. And they also got a new contest on his page that they're giving away 2 free tickets at opening day up at Port. That'll be a lot of fun to see how they're going to do that. And then Kyle McFadden from Speed Sport and also Sprint Car and Midget Magazine is going to be joining us. Kyle's one of the best up-and-coming reporters we have in the area. And guys, I mean, I know dirt racing got really didn't get going this weekend here, but there was a lot of news that came out this past week in the past couple of days, even the past couple hours. There's a lot of news that broke, guys.
Yeah, I mean it's been Chris Wyndham's going NASCAR racing. Potentially Gene Haas screwed Roman Grosjean out of some sponsor money, and that's just in the big leagues. How about all the regular World of Outlaws confirmed for Bristol? Kyle Larson's going to run Bristol on dirt. Kyle Busch is going to run Bristol dirt. You boys are going to be busy, so I'm going to get the hell out of the way.
You go do that, Chris. Adam, we got a big show ahead of us here, and Chris is going to be getting our first guest on the line here, and the news broke just a couple hours ago here. Justin Henderson is making his return back to Central PA. He made his name really around here in the Siro Catch number 35 car, but he's coming back this year to run 3 races in late March at Williams Grove, Port Royal, and up at Selinsgrove then. So it's going to be great to have Justin back here in Central PA.
Yeah, I agree. I miss seeing him on a regular basis out here. I wish to hell he'd come back. But, it's in the cards, family life to stay home at Knoxville, and it makes more sense that way.
Yeah, exactly. And Knoxville makes there's a lot of good money to be made out there in the Midwest, and he's been really doing a good deal in the 360 deal. Got 5 wins last year. Finished 7th in Knoxville points in the 410s. It just seems like the 360 deal is working a little bit better for him. And we'll talk to him here in just a second as we get everything lined up here. I believe, Chris, if he's ready, let's unmute him and we'll get him on here. Ladies and gentlemen, he's going to be making his return back to Central PA coming up here in late March. Ladies and gentlemen, Justin Henderson. Justin, welcome to the Highside Hustle, bud, and welcome back to Central PA. Great to have you on.
Hey, thanks, Bert. I appreciate you having me on, spreading the word.
Hey, no problem, man. Hey, let's talk a little bit about this here. Come back here. We run 3 races in the end of March here with the Sang Big Motorsports number 7. Talk a little bit about what you're going to be doing here and also what you guys are going to be looking for here, because I saw you're going to need a little bit of help when you guys come out this way.
Yeah, I mean, for us, we were looking for a place to start the year off, and a couple outlaw races got canceled. And the more and more we talked about it, the more it made sense to come to Pennsylvania anyway. So it was just all signs kind of pointing that way. And I was hoping that, when we came out there, if we could find some help, as far as paying for some diesel and maybe some hands on deck as well. We'd be set pretty well to come back in the fall, and that would work hand in hand with how the first trip comes in the spring here. But more than likely, we're trying to set it up to come out every spring and every fall if we can to get good races in.
Well, that's fantastic, because you're going to be in that way. It's kind of weird because Knoxville and the Midwest, you only run really from maybe late April, beginning of May until the end of September, or even before that. So it's kind of beneficial for you guys, maybe get a little bit head jump on some of this competition, where you guys can kind of get a notebook if you guys do come in for the month of money in September, and then if you come in for, say, the October run with the Outlaws and everything else going on out here.
That's exactly what we'd like to do. I mean, it just makes sense. It's not hard to see that. So, I mean, Linton Jeffries has been doing similar things in the last few years. I mean, same sort of deal. Gives us really good races and competitiveness, to be on our game when we get back to the Midwest. And then, after the end of the long season, we'll be geared up to come back. So.
Yeah, I'm just saying, Justin, I've worked on a modified for the last 10 years. I definitely like to learn something about a sprint car. if you need crew help.
Yeah, absolutely. I can. That's fine. That's not. I can teach you everything I know. It won't take long.
You know what? That'd be a good thing that we could
I'll
do
gladly
here.
put the camera down.
Pick up with the GoPro.
Yeah, GoPro would be fine too. We've got a GoPro, but I mean, if you guys want one for your footage and whatnot, we could definitely put a GoPro on there. Put one on there, show a little bit of crew work and some on track stuff.
Sounds like an idea to me.
I like it. But go ahead.
So Justin, you've raced in Pennsylvania.
Talk a little bit about 2020. I know it was a tough year for everyone, and you were able to go out there and salvage 7th place to the 410 points out in Knoxville. But talk about what 2020 was for you guys.
Really, the outcomes didn't relay how good we were. I mean, we had some really good races that I crashed out of. We also had some really good nights going to Knoxville. We had some issues with shifter cables and rear ends popping out of gear for a couple nights in a row, and that really plagued us. And then it hurt one of our motors, and then that kind of led to another thing. So it was a tough season as far as points were concerned, and it really doesn't reflect, the good nights that we had. We won a race there. On that night, the wing cylinder came off, and the wing went all the way to the back, and we were lucky enough to hold on at the end with Brian Brown charging, and got one win there last year with the 410s, which isn't easy to do at Knoxville. I mean, I don't think there was a lot of races won by locals, to be honest with you. I mean, Wrightsville won a few, and the rest of them were outlaw shows and whatnot. So Knoxville is tough all the time, just like Williams Grove is tough all the time. So is Port Royal and whatnot. So we have to take all that into consideration coming into this next year and kind of realize that we weren't that horrible. 7th isn't that bad anyway, but we weren't that horrible, and we can definitely improve on that with just a couple things going right.
Yeah, for sure. So you've raced quite a bit in Pennsylvania. Out of the cars that you've driven for, what is your favorite out of the group?
Probably the 35 car with Don and Charlie Sirocatch. I mean, they really took me and Zeus in and made us feel like we were at home for sure, and gave me everything I needed to compete, and made sure that we went to as many races as we could to get me acclimated to the area, and really carried me there. I mean, in the beginning, they even got rid of a crew chief for me, which, I feel bad about that, of course, but in the long run, it panned out. So, and then they got me with Jim Schreiner. And then once Jim Schreiner and I got together, we really clicked. There was a section of time there where, the motors were all hitting, the cars were all fresh, and Jim and I were really on the same page, which that's what it takes. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm not Kyle Larson, but I kind of need the stars to align. You know what I mean? And we took off, and we really won some races together, and definitely turned up my own confidence. I mean, I almost didn't believe it. It was great, that time frame. So I always look back to that. When I think of Pennsylvania, I definitely think of that time frame most.
When you think about that 35 car there, I mean, I've gotten to know Don and Charlie over the last few years, and by the way, actually, Don will probably kick my butt more if I don't thank her and Charlie for setting this up tonight, by the way. So thanks, Don and Charlie, for setting this up. Exactly. I'm more scared of Don than I am of Charlie. Anyway,
well, that's only because Charlie's never got you in his freaking big old paws. If Charlie got a hold of you with his big old paws, you'd be done.
That's fair. That is fair. That is very, very fair. I am terrified of that man at some point, but always be terrified of Dawn. I've learned that lesson too.
Yep, she'll definitely put you in your place.
It seems like exactly, but that 35 team, it just whoever's in that car. I mean, it just seems like they bring that team around, and it's just like a huge family atmosphere, and it's so good to see them give like somebody like yourself that opportunity, and now they're giving a guy like Tyler Reeser that opportunity in the 35 car. But it's just, I think, Curb, and it's not Slash equipment. They got some good equipment with that Sirocatch number 35.
Yeah, and we had some good equipment too, and that's exactly right. And they make it that way. They make it feel like home. You don't have to. It's never awkward. I mean, the very first time I went there and raced with them, I brought a buddy with me, and we slept on their couches, and were like part of the family immediately. So I mean, it's just the environment up there on the hill. It's a bunch of coal crackers up there, and they got their race team nestled away in their shop there, and they both work very, very hard to keep it going and to have a place for, up and comers. I mean, I don't want to call it up and comers. I shouldn't say that, but I mean, it just so happens that I was kind of up and coming in PA, not so much, up and comer in my career, but helped me out a ton. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. They're a great group of people. So out of your wins in Pennsylvania, which one stands out to you as the most memorable?
Just my PA Speed Week win to me was pivotal at that time, as well as who I beat, and the process was really, really big for me. We were running GF1 chassis or whatever they were back then, JEI GF1, and so was Fred Raymer, and we raced hard and I was able to run him down. He got away from me, and I was able to run him down and pass him for the win, and that was really, really big for us and for me personally. I mean, shoot, Fred Raymer it probably didn't mean anything to him, but to beat him was a notch in my belt for sure that I needed to have, especially at a race out there. I mean, if you don't have any confidence out there, you might as well forget about it. You got to have something going for you. So, I mean, that was huge for us. And we won some other great races. Port Royal was nice to me, and so was Williams Grove. And I never got one at Lincoln or Sealands Grove or Susquehanna, but we were close at those places. So I just feel like the Speed Week win was the most prestigious and probably felt the best passing Freddie Raymer.
Justin, you went from two places, or have raced in two places that are like the hotbeds for sprint car racing. What is the biggest difference between Central PA and the Midwest in your eyes?
Honestly, and I don't want to get in trouble with the fans back here, and I don't want to get in trouble with the drivers and the teams out there.
Pennsylvania show, piss them off. We love the content.
I'm not really afraid to get in trouble by any means, but no.
You might have the Knoxville Moss after you, though.
That's true, and the Knoxville fans are a group of their own. That's for sure. But it's the fans that bring out the racer and bring out the best out of the racer, and it's the whole, it's just the whole ball of wax out in Pennsylvania that kind of goes with it, and it's the Blue Bridge, and it's everything. It's for a guy that's not from there and didn't grow up with it. And to get there and really not know a ton about it, because you got to remember, like when I first got there, it's not like people were taking pictures on their cell phone and crap back then. So I mean, it was awe inspiring for me, and then to actually be there, and then to be able to win races there. And the very last time I won there, if I'm not mistaken, I actually had to get pushed all the way around to victory lane. So the car was quiet, and the push truck pushing me was very quiet, and I could hear the fans yelling as I went around, like by Beer Hill Gang and by the front stretch. And it was like just so surreal, because that's, a place that anybody wants to win at, and to have it happen like that and just be quiet and kind of calm and having the fans cheer for you, like that meant way more to me than I think for some reason than most of my wins, that I could maybe pick out one or two that meant as much as that, obviously the Speedway win, but it just sets that in your memory for the rest of your life.
And ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us here on the Highside Hustle here on the National Racing Network, we have Justin Henderson who's joining us on the phone here. He'll be coming back in at the end of March, and then it sounds like they're going to set him up for a run here in the fall. Come back here for the month of money here. If you have any questions for Justin, put them down in the comment section down below there. And Adam, go ahead.
So I know we touched on it. You're going to run, hopefully, March and towards the end of the year in Pennsylvania. What does the middle of the year look like for you?
The middle of the year is really full with Knoxville, Jackson, and Houston. It's 3 great racetracks back here, and then a couple other events sprinkled in along the way. I think a couple all-star shows, outlaw shows that aren't necessarily at those 3 racetracks that are close enough to hit. But really, the middle of the year for us is difficult. I own 2 businesses. My car owner owns a business. Actually, you could consider it 2 businesses. He's running harder than I am, to say the least, and taking care of the race car. So we're both extremely busy, and we don't get a ton of races here in the Midwest. And that's why the beginning of the year and the end of the year stuff is nice, because we're not as busy at those times of year. So it's easy for us to come out to Pennsylvania and get some extra races in.
You touched on it there a little bit. Husitz opening back up. How excited are you to get back out the Husitz there and what Todd Corwin and his crew has done? I mean, they did a great job over at Jackson, but I mean, Husitz, I mean, that just looks beautiful what they have done so far.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And they're working with the racers and trying to get as many cars out there as they can, obviously, which only benefits everybody involved. But, you know, they'll work with you and help you with sponsorship packages and stuff like that to bring people out to the racetrack and just different things that they do to help you. Maybe a secure VIP booths or whatever it is, tickets, a big block of tickets. They want to do everything they can to help the racers secure more sponsors because they realize those cars aren't buying, you know, we're not buying these race cars.
Very true. Now, what you're looking at, you know, there is that gap between Knoxville and Jackson. Are you guys gonna be attempting that on Friday nights and run Knoxville Saturday? Or are you going to only go up for Jackson for maybe the Jackson Nationals or maybe a couple other bigger shows up there?
Yeah, pretty much everything at Jackson and then everything at Knoxville. And I believe absolutely everything at Houston. So it will be, you know, there will be some Friday to Saturday hauls there. It's a long haul to say the least, compared to what you guys are used to. No offense, unless you're going to go out to Bedford and back, it's just kind of a different story. Going from like Williams Grove to Port Royal and then Port Royal to Selinsgrove or Susquehanna. So they're all. It's so nice. That's another thing about Pennsylvania that made it so nice. It's so nice to have those racetracks in that cluster. You know, even it seems like you're going to Lincoln and it's a long ways to go to the racetrack. I remember feeling that at one point when I was racing out there. And then I got back home and realized, oh my God, I got to go 5 hours just to get to Knoxville and back just to race again the next night. You know, you're dragging tail by the, you know, more so than you would be just racing 3 nights a week anyway.
Yeah. And you know how long that ride is. I mean, we know how long that ride is. We're up in Schuylkill County, right? You know, not that far away from Charlie's shop. We know how long those rides are to the Grove, Port, Lincoln, Selinsgrove. But it's nothing compared to what you guys have to do out there in the Midwest, so between Jackson and Knoxville.
Oh, absolutely. The worst thing for me was Charlie would get done with work we couldn't leave any earlier than I think it was like 4 o'clock. And depending on how work went and whatnot, sometimes it would be later. Well, if you left at just the wrong time and you were coming down the mountain, about the time you got past the Hershey exit, it was just stopped. So then we're like, oh God. Yeah. Well, then the truck at one time, the throttle didn't work. So I was running the truck, the semi with the cruise control. And it was like, I remember those days vividly. It was something else. And then we got the throttle fixed. It wasn't so bad, but traffic would jam you up and you'd be, you know, rolling through the gate, last person through the gate and getting a spot, which isn't as big of a deal at Williams Grove because everybody kind of waits till 5:30 anyway to get there. But, you know, Knoxville, they're sitting there at 3 o'clock to get in the back gate. I've never really understood that either, but.
Yeah, there is nothing worse than that 81-83 split on the way to Williams Grove or Lincoln.
Oh, every time. And you can skate through there sometimes and not even know why you did. You can hit it at the oddest hour and just skate through there. And then another time you think you're going to be fine and you just get locked down. You're going nowhere.
Yeah,
for sure.
Pig,
Kurt, anything?
You were going to ask him about Bristol.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I could take that. Well, I mean, for the Bristol idea, we would absolutely love to go to Bristol, 100%. But then Knoxville's also racing at that time, and we're concentrated on Knoxville. I mean, we'd love to win the championship there, but it might be one of those things. And I'm just throwing this out there because the owner and I have talked about it, but we definitely don't have any plans, and we also didn't get invited. But it would be such a thing where we'd run the first night and see how it went, and then maybe stick around for the second night, if anything.
Yeah, I think that whole deal is going to be really interesting. I'm curious to see who else they're going to bring in other than the Outlaws and the couple that they've sprinkled in.
Yeah, I mean, that's a large field of cars that they can fill. I don't know how. I thought, what did they say they were going to invite?
40, I think 40.
That's what I thought too. That's a pretty decent sized field of cars. I mean, if the All-Stars take that weekend off, they could kind of co-sanction something and work together, but I don't see that happening. I never even looked at the schedules. I mean, what other big group of cars are you going to get? You're going to try to call out as many PA guys as possible. But some of those guys are going to definitely decline, you know?
Yeah.
I think the only one that
Well, Justin, we have
really go down
enjoyed
from
this so much.
Pennsylvania
I
to be
mean,
Double D.
it's so good to talk to you, bud. We're gonna let you go here. Enjoy the rest of your night here. Who do you got to thank for helping you get out here to PA, and who you got to thank for helping out your Knoxville ride and throughout the Midwest?
Honestly, we haven't gotten anything nailed down for coming out to PA just yet. That all kind of happened today. I talked to a few people, but we haven't really nailed anything down. So not going to thank anybody just yet. I would definitely thank our local sponsors and thank Mike for helping out on for everything that he does and even entertaining the idea to go out to PA, which I've always kind of pushed for. So A1 Pressure Washing and Morton Buildings that's on Mike's car are the two main sponsors that we have. But other than that, looking for all the help we can get out there, and we're ready to come try our best and get tuned up for the Midwest action.
Absolutely. Well, I tell you what, maybe paid to come out there and give you a hand there, get you do a little special here with us here. But hey, best of luck this season, buddy. I'm hoping we'll talk to you again some point soon. Maybe we'll talk to you when you're out here in PA, and safe travels, and we'll talk to you soon, man. Good luck this year.
Yep. Thanks for having me, guys. Talk to you soon.
Yep. Take care, Justin.
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, there he goes. They're going to be back in here coming up at the end of March. And Adam, I'm excited for that. That was a fun interview. He is such an easy talker there, and I can see why Don and Charlie really enjoyed him in that 35 car. And he's such a good young man and has so much talent behind him there. I mean, he does have some Knoxville wins to his credit there. Does have, a prelim night win at the Knoxville Nationals. He is one hell of a driver, and it's so good to see him come back to the Posse land here for a few races.
It really is. I always enjoyed watching him race and his style of racing. It's going to be neat when he does come back out and just to see what he can do. And just saying, Justin, the offer's on the table. I will definitely give you a crew hand if y'all need it, because I'm always interested to learn something new.
I think we should take up on that offer. Put a GoPro throughout the night, and make it a little special or something like that. So maybe we'll hook you up with Justin on that. So all right, folks, we're gonna take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're gonna have the legend. He'd finish up at second at Port Royal this past season in points. Mike Wagner will join us. Stay tuned right here on the Highside Hustle.
Pen is an electronics recycling center which specializes in restoring electronics to usable condition. They turn salvageable parts from donated equipment into working electronics for those on a budget. The best part is your old gear doesn't end up in a landfill. Free Geek Pen also does computer repair. Find them online at freegeekpen.org. Give them a call at 717-721-2494 or stop by the shop on Main Street in Ephrata. Think freegeekpen.org.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Highside Hustle. Join us live here on the phone. He's finished second last year at the Port Royal Speedway in points. Picked up his first win since 2014. Ladies and gentlemen, join us live here. And from the shop, I think I'm back now.
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Can you hear us, Mike?
Yes, I can.
1 second, folks. We just had him. We were literally just talking to Mike.
Yeah, I can't hear Bert.
Let's try give it a shot here. We'll get
Also
back
can't
on
hear
with Mike
Mike
here in
if that-
just. This is what happens when you have crap internet. You try to do a racing show from your house. It's fantastic. You get these fun little technical glitches that everything goes wrong, right when you want it to go right. But anyway, Mike, thanks for coming on the show, bud. Great to talk to you again, man. And congratulations on the second place run at Port Royal. I know that's been a long time coming last year. And you guys are looking to probably gain us some success here in 2021. But you really got to go out there and find some way to beat your kid because he's out there kicking everyone's ass.
Yeah, he's been pretty fast. I think maybe we'll have something for him this year, trying to get a couple more motors together here and maybe have a little more power, getting a couple of cars, trying to get them together and, just try to work real hard and get the car working good. And if I can drive it half decent, we should
see here.
have a
Can
better
anyone hear
year.
me?
I can hear you.
Are we good now? There we go. All right.
There
As
we
I
go.
said, Mike, it's always fun when you're trying to work a show with terrible internet. It's yeah. Anyways, welcome to the Highside Hustle, buddy. How you doing tonight?
Okay. I can hear you now. It sounds better than it did.
Oh, perfect, excellent. So, anyways, hey, congratulations on your second place run up at Port last year. You said that you're in the shop here tonight trying to work on that car because you got to do a little bit of work here if you want to go beat your boy because he's out there kicking everyone's ass the last 3 years. So you got to go try and knock that boy off from getting a fourth.
Are you getting things fixed up now?
Yeah, I think
All
we're
right.
good now, Mike. Can you hear us? All right, let me see here. What is? Chris, can you hear us? Let me see here.
Yeah, I got you guys. And
Okay,
everybody
let's
else
see
should
here.
be able to hear you here too.
All right, just give us 1 second here. See here, Mike, are you good? Because I think we're good now. I think we can get going with this interview. All right, we'll get this sorted out here. Might have to give Mike a call back here, but Adam, we talk about Mike a lot here. Is that over the last few years, it's been he's had a couple different incidents throughout the last couple seasons here, but last year you come out there and he gets a win on the reopener from COVID, and it's such kind of a relief, somebody different in victory lane up at Port Royal. I mean, I know there's been so many different winners the last few years, but you look at Mike Wagner coming back up there, it seemed like a redemption, definitely from definitely after the concussion he had in 2019.
Yeah, for sure. And it was definitely great to see, as much as Logan is kicking ass and take his names, but his dad has been second to none the last couple of years also.
Absolutely, as we are trying to get Mike back here. It's always fun when we're doing these podcasts. It's all good fun out here with the boys trying to get something to work here. And we'll give them another call here in just a second.
I love
Yeah,
when
sorry
things
about
go
that,
potato.
Yeah, I at this point, I think Mike's just had enough of. Oh, here we go. He's calling us back.
Oh, there we go.
Hey, Mike, you can hear us now,
Yeah.
right?
Yep, I can hear you now. Can you hear
us,
me all
Mike?
right?
Yeah, we got a copy on you here, bud.
Okay.
All right. Let me see it now. Can you hear us, Chris?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Say, Mike, you can hear Bert,
Mike's,
right?
I don't know if I can or not.
Let's see. There you go. You definitely got him in your ear now.
Okay.
Let's try that. Now, can you hear us, Mike?
Yeah, I don't hear anything.
Interesting.
Yeah, for some reason I can't. I'm not sure why.
Oh, I mean, we're
right.
trying like hell.
I was going to say, I'm
it's
seeing in the
always
comments
the fun
that
stuff here when we,
everybody is saying it sounds good.
get
The
rolling
only
here with
person who
this,
can't hear.
technological stuff. But hey, Adam, let's talk a little bit about some notes that we have here.
Yeah,
guys,
the only thing
last week,
I'm
get
hearing
Mike back
here
again
is,
here. We'll look back at this like even today we had a lot of big news come out where Kyle Busch is going to be teaming up with Jonathan Davenport for a late model ride at the Bristol Dirt Nationals. Now, keep in mind this is not the dirt the World of Outlaw Morton Building Late Model Series race. This is going to be the Dirt Nationals that they're running coming up, I believe, St. Patty's Day weekend. So it's interesting to see that Rowdy Busch is going to be running a late model, but he's not too bad running a late model, though. He does have a win out there at the Dream Race. Or, I'm sorry, at the Prelude to the Dream.
I love technology.
I was going to say, everybody can hear everybody here, right?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I got
There
Adam.
we go. All right.
So
So
just need to hear Mike.
I was going to say, let me get me on screen here. I have no idea why Mike can't hear us. Something tells me it's on his end here, but I'm not entirely sure. Because you guys can hear each other, and I can hear you, and I can hear Mike and everybody else. So everything sounds good. And the best part is the comments are saying it sounds good.
Yeah.
I guess
I'm
it's
not
just
quite
Mike
sure
that can't
what's
hear
all-
us. So
What's all going on there? We'll try and get. Sorry,
yes,
Chris,
go ahead. You guys keep rolling on here. I'm going to bring Mike back on the phone one more time, and if it doesn't work, let's just do this.
We'll
You've already
definitely
he
reschedule.
already answered the part about Logan kicking his ass. So
Yeah, my computer went full potato when he said that. I did not hear a single answer about that.
yeah, so here's the deal. There is something fun that's going on here tonight with Mr. Wagner. So let's get to that as soon as we get him back on the line.
Yes. So we'll try that again here, folks. Again, sorry for this. We're working through all these little glitches and bugs here we have, but we'll get it worked out here. As now, Adam, what I was saying there as we were trying to get this figured out here is that Kyle Busch is going to be running a super late model there for Jonathan Davenport come up in the Bristol Dirt Nationals, which is definitely see we get Mike here going on.
Hello?
Last time, Mike, can you hear us, buddy?
Hello?
Oh,
Yes.
There you go.
oh you
So
got us.
we're coming through here. You guys are coming through
Okay.
there. Yeah, everything looks
And-
good here. You're all good to go.
All right.
Well, sounds
I
good.
think so. So, Mike, if you got us, again, I'm so sorry we're having all these issues, but it's just the name of the game. But hey, let's talk a little bit about last year. You come up here, you get your first win at Port Royal since 2014. What was that like that night when you got up there to get that first win there? And was it 6 years? And nothing.
Yeah, that's a little odd. So, Mike, guys are asking you here, what's it like getting that first win at Port Royal in 6+ years?
I mean, yeah, it was pretty exciting. I was, happy for my sponsors and stuff. I had some guys on board there, getting making the car a little bit better and some stuff like that. So I was, glad for everyone, family and the sponsors, especially. So hopefully we can get more.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that we have going on tonight here. That it sounds like we're doing we'll say a giveaway. Couple of passes to opening day at Port Royal Speedway. And basically in the comments, we want you to let us know you're a Mike Wagner fan without saying you're a Mike Wagner fan.
Yeah.
So
they put some stuff right there on Facebook, and we're gonna look through that stuff, and then guess we'll pick a winner there on Saturday, and then we'll get back in contact with them for for the winner, and then we'll give out 2 general admission tickets for opening day.
Yeah, there is nothing quite like opening day at the port, whether it's bug day, the practice day, the Sunday lead into it. What's it like getting that season kicked off and the energy that comes along with it?
I mean, it's pretty hectic getting everything ready to get there, but once you get going and stuff, the racing part I like. There's always a pile of people there opening day. Everyone's ready to go watch some racing and stuff. And as long as the weather's good, I love it. If it's only like 35 or 40 degrees, I'd rather not be there. So hopefully we'll have a good opening day though.
That's one of the cool things is Central Pennsylvania race fans. I would say it every week out at Lanco, but it truly is the God's honest truth. There is not a better sports fan in the world than a Central Pennsylvania sprint car fan. What's it like running with the posse and knowing you have an entire Commonwealth behind you?
It's a pretty good deal there. There's a lot of good competitors here in Central PA. So, even when the All Stars or Outlaws are here, still, a lot of really good PA guys. It's everyone's got to be on their top of their game. So it's fun racing with all them guys.
Yeah, I mean, you get to run with the best of the best, and one of those is your son. What's it like having that experience of running neck and neck with Logan and knowing both of you guys really have a shot to win? A lot of drivers don't get to experience that where you're both competitive at the same time.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. We like to rub it in each other through the week and stuff. So, hopefully we'll beat him more than he beats us this year.
That's the coolest thing about PA sprint car racing to me is the fact that you're going to have 20 cars that show up that have a shot to get to victory lane every week. The competition is so darn good. How do you even prepare for that? Is it just a matter of doing your own thing, or are you really trying to push the limits of what everybody else is doing?
Well, I think it's better just to try and do your own thing and try to, what works for you, just try to get better at that. Because if you start trying to do what everyone else does, you probably won't end up being so good. Because, everyone doesn't do the same thing. What works for one person may not be exactly, the same for another person. So we pretty much, if something works for me, I just let it the same. I don't do a lot of changing. So, I mean, we try to change things to get better, but if something does work, we just let it the way it is.
Seeing the way technology is evolving, we have the new TRD motor that's come this year. The Ford Racing motor is coming. How big of a swing do you see that making here on a week-to-week basis in Pennsylvania?
I don't think there'll be a lot of difference in racing as far as that goes here in Central PA. I'm sure those Toyota motors are going to be a really good engine, and maybe in another year or two, maybe you may have to have one. The Ford motors they seem to really be good also, and I would run any of them. It wouldn't matter to me. Whatever runs good or whatever, I'd run a Chevrolet or Toyota or Ford. Same with regular car to drive. I'd drive anything. It didn't matter to me. Whatever works good. But I
Yeah,
think it'll be better for the whole racing community to have some different engines and programs there. I like that really.
yeah. The manufacturer competition is something that we haven't seen in a very, very long time in the sprint car ranks.
Right. Yep.
How does that change the calculus? Because I would imagine some of these teams are going to end up as, if not directly factory supported, at least with a little bit of help on what the pricing of what these motors cost.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm sure Toyota is going to have their own guys, but I don't know how many. I don't think there'll be that many in Central PA that'll be on really great deals. I mean, I'm sure there'll be some decent deals, but it's still going to cost someone probably a lot of money to have any of those engines. The Chevrolet stuff right now, some of it, that stuff runs good too. So, yeah, right now this year, I don't think there'd be a real big advantage of having any of them. Of course, this year didn't start yet, so I might be changing my mind halfway through. You never know. I mean, I think the Toyotas are pretty much designed for a racing engine right off, from the ground up. So I think that stuff would be really good, and the Ford stuff's good too. It's already proven, So
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, and we want to remind everybody here, get us in the comments, tell us you're a Mike Wagner fan without telling us you're a Mike Wagner fan. We got the one in already from Kevin Bishop. This is a pair of tickets to Port Royal opening day on the line here, so get the comments in, and we'll keep an eye on them through, I guess, the early part of the weekend anyway. But Mike, what's the 2021 plans look like? And where are you going to run kind of week in, week out for those that might not know what you're doing every week?
well, we'll probably plan on being at Port Royal every weekend. If things are going well, we may run at the Grove sometimes on Fridays, and I would been trying to the last few years trying to do a little more traveling, get out to Ohio and stuff, and run with the All Stars and stuff like that way a little bit. I'd like to do some of that this year. Last year we did the whole Speed Week deal. We'll probably try and do that again this year. I see they have another show at Path Valley. At first, years ago, I didn't really care for that track, but after I run some there over the years, I kind of got to like it. So I'm glad to have that back on the schedule. So we'll probably do similar to what we did before, but I'd just like to try and do a little more travel and race a little more if possible.
All right, bud. Well, we know you're neck deep in engine work and everything else here at the moment. So who would you like to thank? And we'll let you get on your way. We appreciate the time tonight.
Yep. Well, I'd like to thank all the guys and all the all the fans and everyone that supports me, and my sponsors. That Mac McGee's going to be on board again this year, and John Ott, Clugston Lumber Company, All Miller and Associates, and we got Todd Alexander there, and Pine Tree Trophy Whitetails, and there's a few other support sponsors that we have, and maybe try to pick up a few little more. Got BW Galvin, a guy that helps us out some every week. He gets us a tire here and there, and got Fulton Electrical Services. They help us some. So all that really helps out, and if we could get some more, that'd even help out some more. But I just try to get more people involved in racing, and try to get more fans to the track.
Yeah, that's right. Preach the gospel of sprint car racing for sure. So, Mike, thank you very much for joining us on the Highside Hustle this evening, and good luck to you this season. Hopefully, we can see you in a couple of weeks up there at Port Royal.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. And we'll see you guys later.
So, there you go, boys. Mr. Mike Wagner here.
But we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to be talking with Kyle McFadden from Speed Sport and Sprint Car Midget Magazine. We'll preview the 2021 season with him. We'll be right back right here in the Highside Hustle.
If there's one thing every car guy hates, it's cleaning the garage. Do you want to take most of the time and hassle out of that job? Then call Zone Garage of Eastern Pennsylvania and New Jersey. Agnes and her crew will have your garage, shop, basement, or even your porch looking great all the time. With unique patterns and designs, plus the ability to incorporate your logo or any artwork, your space will never have looked better. Installation is done in 1 day, guaranteed, and Zone Garage offers a 20-year warranty on the top coat. Their coatings are durable, anti-slipped, and impact resistant. Give them a call at 570-856-6067. That's 570-856-6067 for Zone Garage of Eastern Pennsylvania and New Jersey.
At 600cc Performance, our roots run deep in CC racing. A leader in fuel injection, dyno tuning, wiring, and diagnostics. With over 15 years of experience in building and tuning, you can count on us to get you to the winner's circle. Whether it is diagnostics, sales, or service, 600cc Performance is your source for everything CC racing. Find out more at 600ccperformance.com.
Like this. I'm heading out, man. You want to ride?
No, I got my car, but I actually really need to go to the bathroom.
Dude, are you okay?
I am definitely buzzed.
Yeah.
I think I will take this, and I will take that ride home.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Highside Hustle. My name is Bert Adam, alongside of Adam Rubright, Chris Graham, our producer, and we are working on getting Kyle McFadden on our backup system here. Just give us 1 second here as we get back rolling here. And Adam, it's so good to talk to a guy like Mike Wagner. We will have Mike back on at some point here, and I'm sure we'll have Logan on down the road here. But the Wagners have shown so much promise over the last couple of years, especially Logan. I mean, what he has done to that Zemco car, and I think there's a good shot. We're talking about Logan probably going for a 4-peat this year.
Yeah, I have no doubts about that. When Lucas stepped out of that ride and they announced that Logan was going to go in it, I thought for a second to myself, why? Here we are, 3 years later, numerous wins, 3 track championships. Just what he's done in that car is outstanding.
Yeah, it really is. And I believe, do we have our guests on the line here, Chris? Are we good? Kyle, can you hear us, buddy?
We're getting there. There we go. Now we got
okay.
Mr. McFadden on the line here. Let me bring him on
Kyle,
to
you
your
got
side.
us, buddy?
Boys, there you go. Miss Kyle McFadden's on the line.
Kyle, you got us, buddy?
What's going on, guys?
Yes, finally, we got it working.
Finally.
Sorry for all the delays, bud. But hey, thanks for joining us on the Highside Hustle. Sorry about the little bit of a delay, bud, here. But hey, we were just talking a little bit about up at Port Royal there with Logan and Mike. It was good to see Mike had that resurgence here, but Logan, I mean, you and I, we spent a lot of time in Port Royal last year. How do you beat the Zemco car this year? It is going to be very, very tough, honestly.
Yeah, I was actually just looking through kind of who could run the regular Port Royal schedule this year, and I just noticed that Pat Cannon's going to be in the mix also. So, throw his name into the card, and then I think Jared Esch is also running the full schedule too.
Yep.
At Port Royal, if I'm not mistaken. So, Dylan Cisney, I think, is due for a pretty good year. I think Mike Wagner's got to be feeling pretty good. I didn't hear your guys' interview earlier with him, but I know when I talked to him last year, he had the most resources last year than he had, I guess, any previous year in his long racing career. So, I expect Mike to be pretty strong again this year. I guess AJ Flick would be back in the fold too, as well. So, that Zemco cars has its work cut out for him, I think, but they're obviously the car to beat at Port Royal still on a weekly basis.
Yeah. We have a common reporter for Speed Sport and Sprint Car and Midget Mean, and he's a hell of a rider. Kyle, your articles are just phenomenal, and I'm so happy to finally have you on the show. You had me on your podcast a couple times there over the last few years. I'm glad to be able to return the favor. Let's look at, you mentioned there a guy like Dylan Cisney, but what about Anthony Macri? Are they going to stay up there at Port, or do you think they're going to travel a little bit this year?
So hard to tell. I think Anthony's a guy that will probably get out and want to travel a bit. He's also a guy who could, it's no knock to everybody else who runs on a weekly basis up there, but he's probably a guy who can maybe miss a week or two and still be in the points mix. I'm not sure exactly, what the Port Royal rules are in terms of how many races you have to run to be in the points battle. But I mean, if I haven't really heard back from Anthony yet on his plans. I don't really think he fully knows what exactly he's doing in terms of like week by week basis. I know that some guys like Danny Dietrich have put out their schedules from now to the end. But so, yeah, I mean, the 39M is the car to beat when he shows up, other than the 1Z who's there on a weekly basis. But yeah.
So Kyle, the hot subject these days seems to be the Bristol and who's invited, who's not invited. Obviously, you got your 15 regulars. Who else do you think they're going to extend an invite to, other than I believe they saw or said that Rico was going to be there. Who else do you think they're going to send an invite out to?
That's a good question. Yeah. I'm not really sure how many guys they're going to send invites out to. I know that Danny Dietrich isn't going to go. I know that Lance isn't going to go. Maybe that'd be cool to see Kerry Matson go down in the Barshinger car. I think that'd be pretty cool. Would love to see Tim Schaefer go down. That'd be awesome in the Hefner car. You'd have to think like Gio Selzy would be there.
I think he just got confirmed tonight. I think Gio just got confirmed.
Yeah. Would love to see, obviously Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell there. And I think it's going to be, you look at, I guess, a field like the one and only from Knoxville last year and the big show at Eldora that the All Stars put on. And I think it's going to be like very similar field to those. I think, Kyle Larson, I talked to him recently about that. He kind of compared it to that. So I would look at kind of the fields of those at Eldora and Knoxville from last year. And I think that's probably what we're going to look at for Bristol for this year. And, you got to respect, I guess, the Outlaws for doing that, just for the safety of, their drivers too. And, no matter who shows up, you're going to get the best of the best there. So,
Kyle, what do you hear? Speaking of safety, what are you guys hearing about from talking to some of these guys here? What are you hearing about that? Is there anyone a little bit worried about the speeds, or you think some of these practice sessions? I know there's a difference between a late model and a sprint car, but it sounds like they had a really, really good test with the late models over the last couple of days down there at Bristol. Are you hearing anything from the sprint car guys about maybe they're a little bit worried about what kind of speeds we might be seeing down there? Because it seems these cars seem like they're so much faster than what they were back 20 years ago.
Yeah. I haven't really asked them specifically. They haven't really brought it up when we have talked about it. And quite honestly, I haven't really talked kind of in detail with drivers who are going down about what to expect out of that race. But, that's a good question, Bert. Going to have to dig into that one. But, Kyle Larson, I talked to him recently. He didn't really talk about the speeds. I'm not sure if I guess the speeds are really going to hit these guys until maybe like the week of when they're about to go down, or when, they maybe see the late models in person and they're maybe like, wow, look how fast these guys are going in person. So, not really sure. I saw practice sessions on Facebook Live today and last night, and I think there was like a crate truck rolling around there. I'm like,
yep, I saw that.
You just watch that thing go around, and it's like, holy moly! I just wonder what a sprint car is going to look like rolling around that joint. So, it's going to be something. It's going to be something that we haven't really seen before. It's such a unique track, and just the banking. And I know the banking is not as much as what it was like 20 years ago, but still, it's Bristol on dirt, and I'm more curious to see, like, it looks like the turns are, I haven't really seen it in person, but just watching videos of it, like the turns, like so much room to race in the corners. And then it looks like, going down the front stretch and the back stretch where the pit wall meets the racetrack, just kind of the amount of racing room. It looks like you're merging on like a 3 or 4 lane highway onto like a 2-lane highway. So I don't know how much that's going to factor in, or if that's as as big of a deal as what I see kind of on the highlights and from watching on Facebook. But I'll have to ask drivers who are going down that question on what they think the speeds are going to be like.
I think it's going to be interesting. I saw somewhere today on Facebook, I believe that a late model speed was like 125 miles an hour, which personally I feel like that could be increased just a little bit, given by the fact that every video that I saw, I don't think anyone lifted. Do you think possibly that we're going to be setting some sort of world record for a sprint car on dirt, lap time wise?
Maybe like on a half mile. I think David Gravel ran like a 12.6 at Eldora last year. I think for
Yeah.
track record, could be mistaken, something like that, like a 12.4, 12.6, something in that range. So it's going to be interesting to see, like, what those lap times are. Basically on a half mile. I think you guys were talking to Devin Moran. He compared it to what, West Virginia Motor Speedway, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. So, I'd be curious to see kind of like lap times from, I know they just opened up that place, but, it's maybe just curious to compare lap times. And also, too, like, it's going to depend on, like, the weather and how they prep the track. And, if it's a juiced up racetrack, that's going to be, it's going to be scary fast. It always rains around that time, too. I feel like in, Bristol. So, or it could be dry and not as fast as we think, but by then it should be like end of April, so they're going to have like 3 or 4, 5, 6 races on it already. So when the Outlaws roll into town at the end of April, toward the back end of the Bristol and Dirt, they should be able to like get the track as good as it gets, because they're going to have races before on it and they're going to figure it out. And so it's going to be fun. I think we're going to see maybe lap times, and I don't know. I'm no sprint car mechanic or driver, but wouldn't be surprised to see. I'm not really sure what lap times they were running, 20 years ago. I haven't really looked at those yet, but I would imagine maybe in the Eldora range, just the speeds.
That's what I'm thinking, is that you're looking at the Eldora range probably, and I think you're right, Kyle. It's going to be all depends on how juiced up is the track. Are they going to have that thing slicked off? What's going to be the weather too? Are we going to get some rain down there? I mean, I think if you're the Outlaws, you want to try and have that thing slicked off, so you're not going out there and reaching some of the speeds like Pouch 144 miles an hour at Syracuse or whatever Paul McMahon did up at Rolling Wheels, but. I think that it's possible if you get that track juiced up, but I also think that if it is juiced up, you're probably asking yourself for trouble.
Yeah, I'm looking up lap times on my laptop right now from 2000. Sammy Swindell ran a 13.6 in I think the practice session like the night before. So that's around what we see at Eldora, 141 miles per hour. Goodness gracious. And
so
Bloomquist.
Go ahead, I'm kind of curious. How fast was that lap that McMahon set up at Rolling Wheels? I think you mentioned it, Bert. Anybody remember?
146.
Goodness gracious!
I know it was wicked fast. Like I believe TJ Cropper at the time had a video up of it, and he was in the infield up there, and it was ridiculous at the rate of speed that McMahon came blazing past the camera at.
Let's see here. Paul McMahon, it was a 15.461. Let me see here. I'm trying to see.
Which doesn't seem all that fast.
Speed. So it looks like Paul was just a little bit slower than Pouch, but the time was there. It was a track record up there. But yeah, I mean that was right there. But yeah, Kyle, you hit on it before. I think you're going to see a lot of Eldora type speed. You're going to see a lot of Eldora type racing. Just how wide Bristol is, and I feel like if they get that track similar to Eldora, you're going to have a lot of great racing. But let's bring it back home for a little bit here. Let's switch from Port down to the other Saturday night track, the Lincoln Speedway. The last couple of years, it's been kind of Freddie Raymer's house, and Monteith has, been really, it's felt, slid back a little bit. Now Monteith is out. You got Campbell going in the 21 car. Dietrich is going to be traveling a lot, but normally when you get down there, it's a Danny and Freddie show or a Danny, Brian, and Freddie show. What can we expect out of Lincoln this year with some new blood in there with Matt Campbell there, Chase Dietz in the 39 car? You're probably have Tyler Ross in the 75 down there. What can we expect out of Lincoln Speedway this year?
Yeah, I was actually just looking through Lincoln too. Chase Dietz, I'm high on him for this year. He had some really he had some strong finishes toward the end of last year in that Tron car, and I know Tron has kind of reloaded just with resources in that car, and I think Chase is going to have a really good year, and obviously Matt Campbell too. You touched on him; he's taken over for Brian Monteith in that same 21 car. 8 championships, got big shoes to fill. Actually, doing a magazine story on Matt Campbell that'll be out in our
Nice.
April issue on Speed Sport magazine, so have to catch that. He's got a great story, Matt. As reporters, I don't have a favorite driver or any of that, but Matt Campbell's story, you root for stories, and I hope things work out for him. He's had a tough road to get to this point, and I think he'll do well. And you got Alan Crimes too. You got Crimes and Robbie Kendall and Billy Dietrich and Kyle Moody and Brandon Raymer and Tim Wagaman and Troy Wagaman too. You can't really count them out, especially Troy. I mean, Troy's gotten better and better, I feel like, and he's definitely getting his race program in the right direction. And Tim Schaefer too. I know that Hefner's car is going to be traveling around a bit, but when that car stays home, they're going to be at Lincoln most nights, and I'm sure people following along down in Florida have seen what he's done in that 360. I think he's got like 2 wins and 6 races in that car. Like, yep. Watch out when that 72 is at the track. So, I love Port Royal. We all love Port Royal, but Lincoln's gonna have one heck of a fight, for that points title and on a weekly basis. Just with like the new blood, Chase Dietz, Matt Campbell, mixing it up with established faces like Freddie and Danny and Tim Schaefer and Crimes, and it's going to be fun. And I think Danny didn't commit to it yet, but you would have to think that Danny's going to be in the hunt for the Lincoln title. I mean, he missed a few races last year and almost won the Lincoln points. So, or he made Freddie work for it. So, Danny's going to be right there, even if he misses a race or two. And it's such a long year too. And then Tyler Ross too. You touched on him. He had some good runs last year in that 75. So I think Lincoln's wide open. I think there's some dark horses there that can step up and surprise us. But it's going to be fun for sure.
You touch on there, Kyle, is that Tim Schaefer running down at Lincoln, and that surprised me a little bit because Hefner has been kind of Port Royal oriented for the last few years, with either when Greg was in the car or when Ryan was in the car. And I know that a track like Lincoln probably suits Tim a little bit better, but I also know he's ran very well at Port Royal too. So, I mean, it's kind of a little bit surprising to see his 72 car going to be going down to Lincoln Speedway instead of going to Port Royal in a way.
Yeah, I think, Mike has changed. He's obviously, we've all changed since Greg's death, Mike especially. And I think he, really, I can't speak for Mike personally, but I think he really likes to, see his car race and, be at the track and, because he obviously shares ownership with Lincoln now. And,
for some reason that completely slipped my mind. I totally forgot about
you're
Mike
good.
as part of Lincoln.
Yeah, you're good, Bert. You're good. You're good. I think it's hard to keep track of him these days. He's got his hands in so much stuff.
God, yeah.
Mike is a man. He wears many hats. So yeah, I think, and then there's also too, like, if you're a car owner like him, do you want to see your car run, or do you just want to send the car elsewhere and not see it run, just out of nerves, I guess.
Just completely remember Mike Hefner is the owner or part owner down at Lincoln now. Just answer my question there. I feel like such a dumbass in a way.
You're good, Bert. You're good.
I mean,
it happened last year, so,
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Or 2 years ago. I can't remember
anyway,
when they took over, but it's recently.
Yeah, I think it was a year or two ago. Pig, any questions for Kyle with down at Lincoln?
Not necessarily Lincoln, but definitely track related. So we're finally getting what we want. We have Baps going to Speed Week. Big Diamond finally puts together a 410 race. You know, it just so happens we're going to be out in Knoxville for that whole debacle.
Yeah.
And then you add in the mix of a completely brand new track at Big Diamond, Big Diamond, God. Bloomsburg.
Get it right.
I'm working on it. You know, I like what Big Diamond's doing. I like what Babs is doing because we've all been begging for it for years. But what's your thought on this new Bloomsburg deal?
I think it's awesome. You know, when everybody's like panicking that tracks are going away and racing's suffering and this and that, and you know, Bloomsburg, we get another track in Central PA. You know, a 3/8 track too. I haven't really seen like the specifics of it yet, but like, you know, 3/8 racing is like, we all love our fast half miles, but you know, I think 3/8 racing is probably the best racing around. So I mean, you throw in that track, and you know, it's got history to it too. I mean, it's not just like a new track. I think Bloomsburg ran quite a bit, you know, back in the day. So you know, it's cool to kind of relaunch that. Yeah, you know, I would be a great midget layout. I know Lincoln's got a, you know, great midget layout, and I think it's awesome. You know, and it's something different. You know, it's you know, it's not like it's near. I mean, it's obviously in Central PA, but it's not like it's like 10 minutes from the Grove or 10 minutes from Lincoln, or you know, it's not like we're like
Grove. And you're also about an hour away from Port Royal, too. And they came out with the thing today is that they're running the 305s, I think, the same day as the Natty Open. They're running in the morning at Bloomsburg, and then it's 58 miles up to Clinton County. They're going to run on Saturday night.
That's awesome. I haven't even seen that yet. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, no, you know, more the merrier, man. You can never get enough sprint car racing in Central PA. So, you know, and they got the USAC coming in, and they have some late model shows up there too, so it's going to be good, and you know, it's awesome. You know, it's really cool to see, and it's cool to see Steve O'Neill also have his hand on that place. So yeah,
you know, it's in good hands at that point when it's with Steve. You saw what he did with Port Royal, and I mean, he brought that place back from the grave, and you know what he has done. There was a reason that he is a 4-time promoter of the, or 4-time in a row promoter of the year, national sprint car. And I think just bring him into Bloomsburg, it's the right call. It absolutely is the right call to bring Steve in for that. And I want to talk about another track of another fairground that's getting a 410 race, and I think it shocked a lot of people, but they're showing that they're making the improvements. What's your thoughts on this Kutztown deal with that? Going with the 360s and the 410? Let it out, bud, because I'm really curious to get your thoughts.
I thought it was a joke at first, honestly.
It's only going to be on the air in about 20 minutes.
You're right. I thought that was a joke that they were doing that, because it's like, you know, Kutztown, what the heck? Like, no way. Like, no. Like, that's not – you're going to fit grown, full-size cars on a, you know, a midget, a micro track, a go-kart, you know.
Yeah.
Well, and, you know, I think it's, you know, it's people got their opinions, this and that. Like, well, why not? Why not put 410s on Kutztown? Why not put 410s at Action Track USA? You know, why not? So I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to attract. You know, it's forget which Sunday that falls on, but if I'm not mistaken, is it before Speed Week or is it after Speed Week?
It's in June.
Okay, so it's going to be. I think it's like a week or two before Speed Week. So, not sure if that's going to change anything up with car counts. You know, just guys trying to get their programs fresh heading into Speed Week. But I think you're going to see a lot of guys try it. You know, because it's so unique. My only concern is, you know, they obviously had to reconfigure the track and widen it.
Mm-hmm.
My only concern is, you know, how's that going to affect their weekly racing. But I think it's great. You know, racing's obviously an entertainment driven sport / business. So, I mean, that doesn't get more really entertaining. Put 410s on Action Track USA. So I'm all for it.
In my opinion, I think if you saw what Doug Rose did with Bridgeport and the improvements he made with that place, I think they're making the right move with the fence down there and widening the track. That's the two things that they really need to do to make this place. They want to run a 410 show happen. But I think it might help the speedsters out too, because it seems like they have a little bit of a hard time finding that second lane there sometimes, and they lose a lot of momentum going in those corners for how tight they were. Now if they widen that track out, it might give the speedsters a little bit of a chance here. We all know how the 600s are down there. They put on one of the best shows in Pennsylvania on a weekly basis. In my opinion, they do anyways. But I think that it's going to help their weekly program out as well. But it all starts with that safety aspect there too, where they start with the fence, and that's where they need to start with the front and the cat fences along the side.
Yeah, actually, I've only been to Kutztown once, and that was for the Midget show last year, the Midget Week, USAC Midget Week.
Was that not a damn good show?
That was so good. Oh my gosh. So good. It's so I'm looking forward to getting more involved in, I guess, the micro level and the speedsters level, and hopefully getting up there more times than just once last year. So but yeah, no, it's going to be good. I think you're right, Bert. I think it's going to improve the racing. It's just some unknowns, I guess, until everything gets started there.
So we touched on Port Royal, Lincoln, a few others.
Got one
What's
left.
your thoughts on Williams Grove over there? Yep.
Yeah, the Grove. It's cool to see them increase the purses. Because when, I guess, COVID hit last year and we were shut down, it was just, what's going to happen after, we're still in the middle of this pandemic, but, what's going to happen, just with, purses and sponsorship and supporters and everything. And to see racing, seems like racing is, like you look at a track like the Grove and the purses and the purse increase and the National Open being $75,000 win last year, and the purse increases for this year, and it's just really encouraging. And so I think the Grove points. I was looking at them. You're gonna have Freddie, gonna have Danny, gonna have Macri, Matt Campbell. You got Brandon Raymer also there too. Alan Crime, Steve Buckwater, Chase Dietz, Kyle Moody. Kerry Madsen said specifically he's not interested in running for points, but traditionally that 24 car's been there weekly, so you would have to throw Kerry Madsen's name in there, and not sure what Tim Schaefer's going to do on Friday night, but you've typically seen the Hefner car there weekly, so I think the Grove is going to be really exciting. As I know people have their opinions there about the track. I think the Grove is going to be. I think the Grove is going to be. If you just look at drivers specifically, you got Freddie, you got Anthony, you got Danny, you got Kerry Madsen, you got Tim Schaefer, you got Matt Campbell, you got Chase Dietz, you got another Raymer in there. You got Brandon Raymer in the Westbrook car, which is a very good car at the Grove.
Yes. And Campbell
you got
some
Stevie.
great stuff in that car too, with the 410 down at the Grove. Remember that?
And yes, he's shown. Yes, Campbell. Matt. When you sit down and talk with Matt and hear him talk about how he gets around the Grove, he talks like a driver who knows how to get around the Grove. And that's very important because the Grove is obviously one of a kind. And so have to imagine he's going to be there. Steve Buckwalter, if he can, just kind of get some luck and keep his ducks in a row, I think he can contend. I know he's just had some engine fallouts and just some things to maintenance with this program over, the course of the year and everything. And So it's going to be interesting, and it goes without saying. Last year was the first year in, I think, since '98 that the Posse didn't beat the Outlaws. I know
yeah,
we were,
right.
we missed out on the first two outlaw races at the Grove, but still, I mean, Posse were shut out. And when you look back traditionally through the years, every year since 1998, there was a driver from Posse driver who has beaten the Outlaws at the Grove, and last year that didn't happen. So I think, and then obviously Lance, you can't count out Lance when he's at the Grove, and he's still got 99 wins. So he's been sitting all winter, and quite honestly, since Speed Week, if you think about it, he only picked up one win last year at the Grove, and now Speed Week. He's been sitting on 99 since Speed Week, and all throughout the winter, and so you can't, he's going to want to get that thing out of the way, get win number 100 out of the way. So, there's a lot of storylines to follow at the Grove. Yeah,
I'll get back to the outlaw thing here in a second, but I want to touch on, you're talking about the drivers there, and one guy you got to look at, he got a 4th place finish in the points last year. What about TJ Stutz? He always qualifies.
Yeah, sorry, skipped him.
Can never get on his side.
You're right, Bert. I skipped over TJ. My bad, TJ. Yeah, he's a great qualifier, and he's a great racer too. He just, just needs a little bit of luck. He always times well, which is obviously important at the Grove. I mean, it's important anywhere. It seems like, it's important at the Grove. So, I know he, had some unfortunate things happen, I guess, in a number of races last year. And, you gotta put him there as well. I think he, I'm not sure exactly where he finished in the points last year. Actually, look at it now. He came fifth in the points last year. It was Freddie, Brent Marks, Anthony Macri, Danny Dietrich, TJ Stutz. That you're in some pretty good company there. So, if he can just get that little bit more, he'll be right there too. So, for sure.
Kyle, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show here tonight, man. Glad we could talk about all things racing, and this has been so much fun talking to you. I love seeing your articles. I love seeing what you're doing, bud, and I'm proud to call you a friend, and I hope you continue success. Where can people find your articles, and where can they follow you on all your socials?
Thank you, Bert, for that. Yeah, they can find me on Twitter at by Kyle McFadden. It's just BY, and then my name, Kyle McFadden, KYLEMCFADDEN. You can follow me on Twitter, and then just keep up with my stories. I post all of them on Twitter, and then you can, if you're not on Twitter, you can just go to Speed Sport. You can just look up my name, or just go to the Sprint Car and Midget magazine, which Speed Sport owns. So you can find my stories there as well. I do more than sprint cars too. I do late models, a little bit of NASCAR. I kind of bounce around a bit, but mainly sprint cars. Gotta love our sprint cars, and thank you so much, guys, for the time, and hope we can do this again sometime.
Oh, we will, buddy.
Yeah,
Keep
for sure.
kicking ass. We'll see you soon, man.
Thank you, Bert. Thank you, Adam. See you guys.
Yep. See you, Kyle.
Take care, buddy. And there he goes, ladies and gentlemen, Kyle McFadden from Speed Sport, previewing the Central PA season. And, boy, we love to talk pig. I mean, that was some great insight there. That kid, he kind of weird. Like, he just showed up in the pits one day a couple years ago, and we started talking a little bit, and he's really knowledgeable about what he knows. And I love talking to him any chance I get, and I just felt like tonight was a really good opportunity to have him on the show here and kind of preview Central PA. And he gave a lot of good points up there, and especially about like Tim Schaefer down at Lincoln. That's going to be a lot of fun because Schaefer is always so good on some of those smaller tracks.
Oh, for sure. And like you said, he's so knowledgeable, super easy to talk to. You can kind of throw any question you want at him, and he'll answer it the best way that he can. It was a great interview. And I agree. Tim Schaefer to Lincoln, that's going to be interesting. And it's already obvious that team is gelling. I think Tim Schafer might be the man to beat in Central PA in 2021.
That would be a hell of a turnaround for that 72 team, and I mean it's needed. We know Ryan has a talent. For some reason, it just did not work out. It happens, and it's not saying anything bad about Ryan or whatever. And but for some reason, it just didn't work. And now you look at Schaaf and picked up 2 360 wins. Though I will say this: the 72 360 program has been better than their 410s over the last few years. Ryan got a few wins in the 360. I know he got win up at Port. He got I think he got one down at Lincoln too. But that 72 360 has been a little bit better than what it has been in the 410. So maybe there might be, hopefully Heath and the crew can transfer some of that success over to the 410.
Yeah, I agree. Like, for whatever reason, like you said, that 360 deal has just been lights out for them, and it's been great. And then kind of struggled a little bit in the 410. I don't know. I'm sure Heath and the gang will get it turned around. They always do, no matter what. But we touched on it earlier. Pat Cannon making his return to sprint cars. That I would have never thought that was going to happen.
No. Who would have thought that there?
And boys here, I got a treat for you. While you guys were talking to Kyle, let me swap over the video here. We have the video of Paul McMahon's rolling wheels. Insanity. That's the best.
Oh my God!
I
forgot that was in a Casey Kane car.
No, he was in the CJB car. That's Brad Sweet. That's Brad Sweet. Yeah, so I think he's coming up there.
Yeah, he's next.
But
yes,
I remember it was
Brad
so,
Sweet goes track record, and then Paul McMahon comes out and absolutely obliterates it. Hearing Johnny Gibson squeal like a schoolgirl calling track records and world records is absolutely unreal.
It's exciting. It's exciting.
How do you not get juiced up over a sprint car doing 145 mile an hour?
And then, you had Brad Sweet there, but then you go out in the next lap, then you have Paul McMahon come up there and kick everyone's ass with a better lap right behind that. I still remember showing that one with, I think it was TJ Crawford from the infield there. You could hear the crowd go nuts when they heard the time.
Yeah, that was one of those that the time was recorded accurately. They actually went out and remeasured the racetrack after the race to get what the official track distance was, because it was that close to Billy Pouch's number. And the fastest sprint car lap in history still belongs to Billy Pouch from Syracuse. I think we might see that fall at Bristol.
So think about that now. We're looking at rolling wheels there. You look at the time Paul McMahon and Brad Sweet just set there, and you're saying about how close they were to that time there. We're talking 5 years ago. In sprint cars, let's be honest, they have not really changed that much in 5 years, 6 years now. So you're talking that speeds on a 5/8 like rolling wheels. Well, think about it, Pig. The technology's still about the same. The rule package really hasn't changed much either.
It hasn't, but
no, that's what's scary.
The shit. Yeah. All right. So the rule package hasn't changed, but you figure back 5 years ago, I'm sure some people were doing it, but like a little thing by like coating your bearings in your rear end can save you fucking 2/10 in the long run.
Okay,
it's just silly shit like that adds up in time.
Can we also not ignore the elephant in the room? That was done at Rolling Wheels with a collection of Chevy motors. Ford and Toyota will both be bringing bullets to Bristol.
And don't
even
forget
if
how
it's in
qualifying was that night too, Chris.
Somebody is going to go for that all-time speed record. I guarantee it.
Yeah. I think that if you're going to have it done, it's going to be at Bristol. I mean, Eldora, they got close with Gravel's time, I think. But, you look at, how do I say it, with Bristol, even,
let's do this.
Yes, you're going to be gun for it.
Let's bring up the late models. I mean, this is video from last night. By the way, show us your clips. You can send it to us with that hashtag to @Highside_hustle. There's no lift in that race car. None.
No, there isn't.
Here's another
Scott
one.
Bloomquist. If I'm right, that'd be Scott Bloomquist and Jonathan Davenport coming out on the track.
And I brought it up earlier. If you want to replay that whole Strickler, or was it Strickler or who was it with the spoiler? How the spoiler only goes like three-quarters of the way across, and you have that like little gap so the air can come up off the right rear.
But if you look,
but Davenport doesn't
have
have
that.
Correct. Here, let's here, I'll bring this one up. And actually, this is going to be kind of crazy if this works, but let's see if hold on. Let me get to the camera here because I want to make sure I don't screw this up. We can slow the clip down and show everybody exactly what we're talking about here.
If you could show them too, Chris, going into 3 there, because I noticed it seems like with Strickler without that little section of spoiler coming off, it doesn't look like the car is that much or leaning on the right rear as much. But if you look on Davenport, it looks like
here's the one you're looking at
on the
here.
right rear.
Just up on the upper left-hand corner, towards the upper left-hand corner, there's a big old hunk of spoiler missing there.
If you could pause it right there. But we just missed it. But
yeah. Unfortunately, I don't have those kind of controls on it. But basically, I mean, you get the point. These guys are tricking out the aero in these cars. If you think they're not going to do that in a sprint car, you're kind of nuts. I mean, here's the onboard video of Scott Bloomquist getting out onto the racetrack. This place is going to be insane. They made a very good call in saying this is invite only.
Yeah. They took banking out of it, and it still looks wickedly banked.
And I want to stay quiet here for just a second. Just listen to this run by Scott Bloomquist, and you tell me where he lives, if at all. There, he looked up and watched at the track, but there ain't much lift in there, boys. And look at the way the air filter is set on that car, on how it's tilted just so they can get the fuel into the carb right there. I mean, that's insane, all the technology's going through. And even, I was watching some of the stuff that XR was doing, by the way, that this where a lot of this video is from.
Yes, all of this video is from XR, so thank you very much for those guys for posting it on social media.
Absolutely, and they were talking with Strickler after his run there, and he said that, you know, he don't know what it's going to be like when it's racing out there, but he said that it really feels like if they get this thing to slick off, we're going to see a lot of great racing out there. And I believe it. This place slicks off. I think what Kyle was saying earlier is that I think for the late models, we're going to be seeing some outdoor stuff and outdoor type racing, but I think some of the lap times here, we're just going to have to wait and see what the sprint cars do. I thought they would have took a sprint car down there and maybe tested it out at least to give that some track time down there and see what they can do for that. Hopefully they do that over the next few weeks.
Yeah, everyone else got a chance. I'm really, really surprised somebody didn't take a 410 down there. Or hell, even a 360, just to see what it would do.
Here's what my gut tells me on that. This was a private track rental. Because I know of, and how's this for insane, there is a go-kart promoter in the Southeast that is considering renting the Bristol dirt track for go-karts.
Now, I think for that, but I think I read today that this was a test for Bristol. From one of the promoters that I saw on Facebook, they were talking about it, is that this was an invite from some guys for Bristol to kind of get some feedback on what they should do to the track and what they're looking for rules packages for the cars. So I think that's why you're seeing Davenport with the full spoiler and you're seeing Strickler with the opening of the spoiler to kind of see what's going on. Because I don't know if that's a setup, but look how much that it's leaning on the right rear there, how much more it seems like it's jacked up than what Strickler was going through the corner.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah.
By the way,
I'm
we have a
excited
couple
for it.
more for you here as well. We'll get you react to this one. Actually, we'll give you this one first because this one is not real world. But check out the save on landing. Oh, the Russian judge gives that one a 9.
And
However, this
listen, I
one
don't care
is
if
very
that-
much real world.
The Nordschleifer, that is such a weird track. Oh, boy.
God. So, I'm sorry, but what now? How?
Yeah.
How did that
How?
thing not take off like a goddamn Boeing 747?
I don't know. That
The
blows
fact
my
that,
mind.
again, he stuck the landing.
Yeah.
The only reason he
I don't know
didn't
how
win
that
that drag
car-
race is because he crossed the center line
Yeah.
30
But
foot off the
still-
ground or 20 foot, whatever it
How-
was.
Well, no, I
Poor
think
buddy.
he crossed it, but then he came back down and crossed it when he came back down. So I think
Correct.
that's when they disqualified him because he took out a timing block. But still, I want to know how that car did not go into that crowd.
That was-
That car
that was
should
some
be in that crowd.
That was some straight Talladega Nights Ricky Bobby shit right there. Like,
Yes.
I agree. I mean,
So now that we're down to however many more minutes you guys want to get in the show here, how about we do some results and news and all that kind of fun stuff?
yeah, let's
Bert,
wrap it up with that
take it
here,
away.
boys. All right, thank you, Pig. Here as I get my notes up here in a second. Here, only racing we really had this weekend was with the Dryden Extreme Dirt Car Series down at the Lakeview Speedway, and Ross the Boss Bales picked up the win on Saturday over matinees. Clay Knight, Dustin Mitchell, and how about this? Stuart Friesen came from 8th to 5th, and he's showing a lot of promise here in the super late models here, Pig. A good 5th place run. He also got another one down at the place your mama warned you about, the Cherokee Speedway on Sunday afternoon. Back-to-back 5th place finishes, but the one on Sunday came from 16th to 5th.
Yeah, that was super impressive. It doesn't take him long to figure something out. I mean, hell, he has this World of Outlaws sprint car win. He has big block win. I don't think it's going to be too far along until we see him win a Morton Buildings World of Outlaws late model.
Can we
feature.
call shenanigans, though, on him getting an invite to Bristol?
Yeah, I was curious about that when I saw that today. But
I
then
don't
again,
have a problem with his team saying, hey, we're going to go run the open one, where everybody and their mother's going to show up. They've got 11,000 cars on the entry list. That's a far cry from the Morton Buildings invite-only World of Outlaws
in
late
a
model
way,
show.
though, I mean, with his standing in the World Racing Group with Super Dirt Car, that probably helped out a lot. So, I mean, obviously, he's gonna be down there as well.
Okay. So you're telling me that we're going to do these invite-only things and play favorites with them. You can get an invite if you're a favorite son or you're going to be a NASCAR guy that will sell pay-per-view buys. Come on.
I mean,
I want to
get
see
where
the
you're
best late
coming
model
from.
drivers in the world go at it.
I get where you're coming
But you're
from.
going to
but
see it.
There's
Because Lucas Oil
this is
took
the
off
way
that
I'm-
weekend, by the way, now. So they're free to
did
come
they?
down. I
I thought
they did. They
for
rescheduled
sure,
it.
given the bad blood between Lucas Oil and the World of Outlaws, that they were gonna clash of
Nope,
the Titans there.
I think they were at. I want to say they were in Tennessee and Alabama that weekend. So I want to. So they rescheduled. I think for later in the year for those two tracks. So very very nice job, Lucas Oil, for working that out. So now you're truly gonna get the best of the best down there. And really, I think over the last few weeks, Chris. I mean, I understand. There's a lot of other drivers that probably should be down there too. But let's be honest, Stewie has been showing a lot of promise in that late model over the last few weeks. So I honestly want to say that the invite is deserving to a point where I think some other guys have been running for longer, but also you don't know who didn't say yes to that because they didn't want to go run Bristol.
In the same aspect, you have to look at it this way too. How many true World of Outlaw late model drivers run the full series? It's like 8, 9? Something like that?
I think they're up to 12. I think they're up to 12.
Okay, even then, that's less than the sprint cars. You have 12. You figure World Racing Group probably gonna, even out the field. So you have 12 Lucas Oil 12 World of Outlaws, just so there isn't a big bitch fest between that whole deal. So you're looking at 24 cars. You can start a full field. But if they're going to go off of the 40, which they're doing for the sprint cars, that gives you quite a few spots that you need to make up. So, you know, a couple guys from Lucas Oil probably going to decline because the hell with it. You know, a lot of them are probably going to be like, oh, I want to go, which I have no problem with whatsoever because I think that they're some of the best late model drivers on the planet. You know, T-Mac's going to get an invite, Davenport, so on and so forth. The list goes on there. But then again, you have to add in the fact that I don't know. It's going to be a crapshoot. You know, I think.
Yeah.
You know, Eckert will probably get an invite. Satterley. You know, like the big names.
The math on the late model side, I think, starts to work in Stewie's favor a little bit, because the reality of things is, if you're going to have 12 World of Outlaws regulars, you probably want a 40 to 50 car show. You want big names going home from that. How many actual cars do you have there? How many really competitive cars, not with no guarantees coming out of the Lucas Oil Series? I guess you do have to start inviting a lot of names, but I don't know. It's a very frustrating deal to me to know that there are guys out there that bust their ass every week at Marshalltown and, you know, I mean, hell, Lernerville and Sarver and track champions that should be getting invites that might not.
Well, you'll probably see Mikey Norris come down there. You'll probably see a couple other guys from out Lernerville and now in the Ohio region. I mean, they'll probably get some invites, and Illinois and out in the Midwest too. Like, you got Bobby Pierce. He's not running for any series. He'll probably get an invite out there. Brian Shirley, he'll probably get an invite as well. You're looking at some Midwest guys. Who else am I thinking out of the Midwest there? That Rusty Schlenk. He'll probably get an invite too, but it all depends. Can they make it work with their work schedules? And also, do they actually want to run Bristol and risk hurting the motor that quickly into the year? But I do think you're saying about the guys that the top guys will be there. I think you're going to have the best of the best there. I mean, if they want to go invite only with this, again, it's another thing of you have that show there to bring everybody and their brother there, but now you want the best of the best there. But that's what the Outlaws want. I think that's the best for what they are given with the Bristol deal.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the best way to say it is, if you think about the S curve that they use to see the NCAA men's basketball tournament, you have more than 68 teams on that S curve. So it makes a lot of sense that you would say, okay, this one fits here. This one says, no, this is going to slide up. There's a lot of moving parts to this that I would imagine it's harder on the late model side, because the deeper you get into that list, the harder it becomes to choose between driver A and driver B. Whereas you could run the sprint cars and say, I could give you 60 names pretty close to off the top of my head, and we're going to pick 50 of those. Man, who do we leave home?
Yeah. Well, you want to look too. I mean, their late models have such a bigger outreach too, Chris and Adam. I saw you were talking there, and your mic was muted. I'll let you say your point here in a second. But you look at what you had there in that area from south of the Mason-Dixon. You look at West Virginia, I guess you can say Maryland, Tennessee, the Carolinas, Georgia, Florida, Alabama, Louisiana even too, is that there are so many good late model drivers in that area. And the one that comes out of my mind here is out of West Virginia, Logan Robeson. You know, he's a hell of a young hot shoe. I mean, I imagine that he'll probably go down, get an invite down there. Will he take it? I don't know. It's going to be kind of one of those things where it's going to be hit and miss here, what they want to do there, Pig.
I think, again, with same as the sprint car side of things, I think a lot of it boils down to safety. You know, Stuart Friesen only has a handful of starts in a late model. But, so that would make him a lesser known late model driver, quote unquote. Mm-hmm. But he has Hallmark money. That car's no junk. You know, are they gonna invite the bigger names with more money behind them simply for the fact that they're more prepared cars? They're better prepared. They're, you know, not saying like the local Friday and Saturday night racer doesn't meticulously go through their car, because a lot of them do, but some don't. You know what I mean? There's people that roll their car out of the trailer, wash it, and put it back in. Like,
yeah,
some things like that, you know, doesn't make sense to me personally, because maintenance in the shop is where you're going to win races. I've been told that numerous times throughout my career, but I don't know. I think a lot of it boils down to the safety thing and who has more money, which sucks because there's a lot of local racers that deserve to get the chance, but are probably going to get snubbed simply because, in the eyes of some people, because they are crowd fillers at most World of Outlaws and Lucas Oil shows, you know, they're going to get overlooked.
I will use a sprint car guy who's taking some time off this year, but someone we should get on the show, by the way. Brett Mahalski is one of those names that I think of as he's got to win at Lincoln. He shows up everywhere the World of Outlaws is when they're up here. Mm-hmm. He wanted to test himself against the best. Now, tragedy intervened this season, and Brett's not going to be running full-time, if at all, but there's a lot of guys like that who you might think would say, hey, yeah, I'll take a shot. But instead, we're going to get, you know, Kyle Busch is going to get a ride in Jonathan Davenport's car. Now, granted, that's the Dirt Nationals where 11 million cars are entered, but it's still sort of the same deal. Kyle Busch puts on a decent show in the Dirt Nationals. I guarantee you he gets an invite.
Oh, 100%.
I think that depends a lot on NASCAR. I think it depends a lot on where NASCAR's at.
Yeah, that's one we can check. But to kind of transition a little bit here, there is a lot of dirt news in the NASCAR news and notes this week. Christopher Bell getting his first Cup Series win at the Daytona Road Course, of all places.
I would have never thought that in a million years. I would have never thought that Christopher Bell's first NASCAR win would have come at a road course. I would have thought for sure like Bristol, like one of the short tracks, you know, like maybe Bristol even Dirt. One of the bigger tracks like Homestead. Yeah, Bristol Dirt, prime example. Speaking of Bristol Dirt, Chris goddamn Wyndham.
Big Daddy.
Heading to NASCAR.
Yeah, hell
Let's
yeah.
Go.
And by the
Champagne
way,
for that one, boys.
Chris, we'll be talking to Chris very, very soon about that. Did reach out to him.
Did you just tease a guest for a future episode of The Hustle?
No, he didn't just tease. He's like full blown.
Yeah,
it's happening.
He's waggling it around, but
yeah. He's like,
I love to flaunt it.
Here,
yeah.
So,
yes, but here.
So, by the way, here. By the way, NASCAR, the weekend of the dirt, both weekends for dirt, they're at Richmond and Talladega.
Easy.
So play that as you will.
That is.
Do. But yeah,
Talladega, I would say, is maybe a helicopter ride. Richmond is probably outside of helicopter range, but potentially doable.
Yeah. Well, that's why you go to the chat.
Anywho, so let's move on to the Outlaws.
Yes.
And their schedule revisions. We're going back to Volusia.
Yeah, we're almost at the 2-hour mark here, folks.
I was going to say, we only got a few minutes left here, boys. So
they're going back to Volusia March 5th. Saturday, March 6th, they're going to head to East Bay Raceway Park for the first time in, 20 years or longer years.
Longer than that, I think since the
But
80s.
wasn't it like 1988 or something like that? So God, close to what, 40 years at this point? No, 30 something.
Yeah.
I don't know. My math is terrible. I failed it twice. Anywho.
Attaboy.
So then we are going to move on to Friday, March 12th at Magnolia Motor Speedway, Saturday, March 13th at The Rev. Couldn't tell you where that is, but it sounds cool. I kind of want to go. We have Friday and Saturday, March 19th and 20th at Cotton Bowl Speedway in Texas. Hopefully they're defrosted by then. Friday, March 26th, US 36 Raceway. Saturday, March 27th, Lake Ozark Speedway, which I believe that would put you at the Jason Johnson Classic, if I'm not mistaken. Is that race?
I should be.
I don't know
should
if
be
that's
right
that
in the
race.
ballpark of that.
Something like that. I know it's right around there.
specific. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong, though. Anywho, moving on. Friday and Saturday, April 2nd and 3rd, Federated Auto Parts Raceway at I-55. Thank God, because if you're a sprint car fan, you love when the Outlaw Boys go to I-55, and I am super
Even if
glad that
you're
they
a
added
race
them
fan
to
in
the
general.
schedule again. Yeah, race fan in general. Anyway, one of my personal favorite racetracks coming up on Friday, April 9th at Kokomo. I might bonsai it. And then followed by Saturday, April 10th at Tri-State Speedway. And then I'm going to quickly assume that the following weekend we'll head back over into the regular Outlaw schedule since, thanks California and COVID.
So it's
how
going to
about-
be their return to East Bay for the first time since 1983. And then, then after that, it'll be, let's see here. Yes, that'll be Jason Johnson Classic on the March 27th, so good call there. And then let me see here as I read through this really quick here. Then it looks like, everything will get back going after that. I think it's great for the Outlaws. I saw that the All-Stars, they moved some dates around too, so that way they're not conflicting schedules coming up in, I believe they're at Attica, and I think there's another race off the top of my head I'm missing there, but they moved them around a little bit so that way the All-Star guys can go run with the Outlaws, and they're not proximity, which I love to see it when it works there. Do it more, people. We love to see it, and I see
Potty Queen Studios once again.
Can we just quickly bounce through here that how good the World of Outlaws sprint cars are at pivoting?
You just nailed the point that I was going to mention. March 5th they're in Florida. March 12th they're in Georgia. Not a hard shot. March 13th, they are at the Rev in Georgia. March 19th and 20th at Cotton Bowl. So they've got 6 days to cross half the country and have sprint cars ready to go. The Outlaws are insane to begin with, but their ability to maneuver on the fly and have teams that want to work with them, that's unreal. It's actually, it kind of upsets me that more major brands won't get involved with the World of Outlaws at a very high level.
Like, they're so good at pivoting. Like, we have to cancel our entire West Coast swing for the start of the year. The Outlaws pretty much just said, hold my beer, we got this. And what? A week later, we get this schedule, which kudos to them because this is a good schedule. This is a good adjustment. I like every single one of these tracks, and I think every single one of them are going to be a really great race. Like, I am almost half tempted to go to Kokomo on April 9th and stay for Saturday at Tri-State. I've never been to Tri-State, but I've always wanted to see a race there. This kind of just gives me an excuse to go.
Okay,
look what the
here we
racing
go.
provided.
Let's take one look here. Let me pull up our Psycho Master schedule here and see where you.
By the way,
is.
Magnolia Speedway is in Columbus, Mississippi, and the Rev's in Monroe, Louisiana. And then they head over to Texas. And then, but then after Tri-State, they go back out to Lawton, Oklahoma, and then they go down to the Devil's Bowl then for Texas Outlaw Nationals. And the following week is Bristol. And then they go back on their regular schedule.
Oh, this is going to be wild. I'm pulling up our crazy master schedule here of every major touring series event and where they're going to be. April 9th and 10th. Let's see. The World of Outlaws late models are at Farmer City Speedway for the Illini 100. I'm sorry, that's the third.
I am not going to Illinois in April. Ain't happening.
You know what? There's nothing going on for USAC in that range. The midgets are in Tulsa. So, I mean, it really is one of those where there's a lot of room to maneuver if you're a sprint car guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, the only issue I see is it directly conflicts with the World of Outlaws late models at Bristol.
Oh.
Okay.
Late model crowd, sprint car crowd.
Things.
Yeah. The late model crowd, sprint car crowd. And not everyone is like us. There's people that hate sprint cars and love late models, and there's people that love sprint cars and hate late models for whatever reason. Just suck it up and be a race fan in general. Enjoy any type of racing. Like I've said it before, I'll watch a three-wheeler race at freaking Big Diamond on the front stretch during intermission and have a good time.
On there. The All-Stars at Attica, which I would imagine that's the one that sort of changed a little bit here. Lucas Oil late models, Friday, April 9th at 411 in Tennessee. Cup Series is in Martinsville, Virginia that week. Midgets in Oklahoma. And the ARCA CRA Super Series is in Anderson, Indiana on Saturday the 10th. Also, Pass North Super Late Models at Thompson, Super Dirt Cars at Can-Am. We're already full on into racing season there, boys. I mean, it's go time.
It's go time. I love it. Well, boys, we'll end it with this. Do we race on Saturday? Yes or no?
No. Ain't happening.
Negative Ghost
Don't get
Rider.
your hopes
the
up.
Pattern is full.
I've been trying to stay optimistic this entire week.
Me too.
I mean, the temperature looks great. Looks fantastic. Rain in the morning. Hell, we've all been there. We've done rain in the morning. But where the actual fuck? And I've calmed my cursing down a lot on this episode, Chris.
Give him credit, Chris. We got to the 2-hour mark before he said the F-bomb.
No, actually, that's number 3, but that's all right.
That meter is usually at like 15 by now, so
yeah,
I'm doing good for my sake. Anywho, back to the point.
I'll give you that, Pig.
Where the hell are you gonna park people? 58 degrees. You're gonna see a crowd bigger than last year.
Here's
only difference
that about the ass crack of dawn.
Let's not ignore parking because it's part of it, but did we not just have 20 plus inches of snow on the ground? Where is all
Wheelie
that
Central
water going?
Wheelie Central.
Into the track to become Wheelie Central. And as a photographer, I'm going to love it.
It's not all going in the racetrack, boys.
No, for sure. I agree.
Our production van would be neck deep in it. Screw wheel well deep. It would be approaching the roof line.
Up to our necks.
All right, so we'll meet you at a bar somewhere, and we'll just transfer all of the stuff out of the production van into the back of one of our trucks. There you go.
Yeah. Let's. I don't want to give away too much here.
Anyway, so Lincoln does happen. Chris, there's a pretty cool event going on Lehigh Valley Grand Prix, I believe, correct?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. How did we not talk about this yet? Racers.
Told you I'm the king of segways, buddy.
Oh, man.
Segway goddamn Sally.
I'm going to steal this one from the Weather Center, but when it comes to nailing segways, Pontius Pilate and the Romans couldn't do a better job than you, buddy.
Thank you.
That'll get some
I'm not
hate
touching
mail.
that one.
Anyway, yes, the Racers Give Back event this weekend at the Lehigh Valley Grand Prix. It's, I believe, $60 to race if you're a fan. You want to come out, there's going to be a ton of drivers there. There is no celebrity race this year. However, The auction is still going on. In fact, I don't even know if they've announced it yet. We're giving away a $500 advertising package here on the National Racing Network. So you'll get on our podcast, our live studio shows like this joke show of the Highside Hustle.
Stop
our
it.
iRacing broadcast, you name it. Even the real world racing broadcast. We're going to give you $500 for as much money as you want to give to twerking Timmy Buckwalter. Thanks, Eric Whitby. Glad you're out of Facebook jail. Yeah. Timmy Buckwalter is the recipient of the Racers Give Back event this year. They do phenomenal stuff, raising a ton of money to give to people. A singular driver each year who's had major issues. Jenna Schatz has been a prior recipient. Last year was, I'm drawing a blank on it. Sprint car driver broke his back, literally quit his job a week before he broke his
Reinhardt. Kyle Reinhardt.
Kyle Reinhardt,
yeah.
Thank you. And this year it's Timmy Buckwalter. So we're going to give away $500 to TSL, Tim Shock Labs, and also $500 to whomever places the high bid on that package. So, but there's a ton of other stuff. Oh my God, the giveaways are unreal. So shout out to Natasha Henn, Steve Svanda, Matt Hoffman, that whole team that puts that event together every year. A lot of money goes out the door to benefit a worthy race car driver. We get a chance to give back, and we can also go do some go-kart laps. And if Lincoln doesn't run, what do you think? Should we go do some live in-car stuff and maybe try to break things?
I'm game for that. I'm always down for breaking stuff.
Yeah. Last year,
Aiden
we had Jenna Schatz and Aiden Sfonda mic'd up while driving. I can't hear them, so I have no idea what they're saying. Aiden comes back about halfway through. They do the driver swap. No big deal. All of a sudden, people start saying, we can't hear Aiden. We can't hear Aiden. Like, okay, whatever. Maybe battery died, whatever. He comes back holding a mic wire split in half, going, could you guys hear me? It literally, at some point, he got the wire and just tore it square in half. And I'm like, no, that's all right. Throw that $100 in the trash.
yeah. Throw that $100 in the trash. Oh, that's fantastic.
You know what?
But
It's a fun night. It's a blast. I cannot wait to get up there. You run the big track, and it's a ton of fun. Plus, you can drink
I
while
do
you're
love
there,
Lehigh
too.
Valley. Exactly. I love Lehigh Valley Grand Prix. So we'll definitely be there Saturday night if Lincoln. Sorry, Pig, go ahead.
I was never there.
Oh, it's a fun
been
time. It is a fun,
I've been to
fun time.
S&S.
You'll enjoy it.
I
You're in for a world of hurt.
blew up
That's
a
another place we need to
go-kart.
take this shit show to. Is that
Yes.
I blew up a go-kart in Rehoboth, Delaware at my buddy's wedding because it was a shit show. It was I don't know if you ever met him, Bert Dino.
Yeah,
It was
Dino.
his-
I love Dino.
It was his wedding. So it was me, his brothers. I'm pretty sure Colt was there. So you already know that that's a shit show. And then you add in like Shane Moser and a couple others. Well, me and Colt were running the high side because after a couple sessions, we found out that there was a nice little concrete patch at the very top where there was no slick stuff. So me and Colt were just lapping the field with the right rear up on that concrete, and I came off a 4 with like 2 laps left in the session, and this fucking motor just detonated.
That's beautiful.
So,
way to kill Briggs and Stratton down there, Pig.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
You're part
Yeah.
of the reason Briggs and Stratton went out of business.
Apparently go-karts in Delaware do not like, and I quote, hustling the high side.
Oh, that's beautiful.
with a fat man in it.
Him right now.
Love it. I absolutely love it. So he does mute him. He fucking muted him, Chris. Oh, all right. By the way, I also got to give a shout out to Case Bouchard of the 4x2 podcast. He had me on there to preview the Central PA season. You can also hear that right here on the NRN podcast network. Don't forget,
And
support us on Facebook. Sorry, Pig, go ahead.
That interview he did with LJ Lombardo was fantastic, by the way.
That was.
Yes, Casey is an undiscovered gem, and I'm glad we got him on the hook. That's for sure. Actually, that episode that you interviewed for, Bert, went live during the show tonight. I was multitasking. So, new episode of the Four Wide Salute podcast, the PA Sprint Car Special with our own Bert Wojcik. That one went live also today. The Slide Up podcast with Joey Amantia went live. Joey's running for USAC 360 Rookie of the Year. He had 3 of his buddies on, and it was a fantastic conversation. I finish editing, and then he sends me a text, and he goes, "Hey, can you bleep out all the F words?" Couple hours of editing later. It was a fantastic conversation. It's really interesting to hear the perspective of 4 young drivers on a lot of subjects, where the old guys might kind of go, safety, whatever, yeah, my belts are good enough, whatever. No wiggle room from these guys.
Yeah.
No. It's the generational shift that has come from the Earnhardt tragedy 20 years ago to today. We're a full 2 generations of race car drivers on from that.
Yeah.
These guys, they don't sacrifice. They don't skimp.
No.
And they maybe make mention of saying, I won't run there if I don't think it's safe.
Yeah.
Hint, hint.
Yeah, so that's
tracks that are
going to be a hell of a listen to.
New events.
Yes, that's going to be a hell of a listen there. All right, boys, let's wrap this up because, I am 3 lattes deep and actually 4 lattes deep. And,
3? That's it?
God, dude.
2 hours?
Actually,
you drank
I had one.
4 beers?
Sorry.
In the 2 hours
Sorry, some of us have to work in the morning.
I work every day.
Or listen to the podcast, the podcast version of it, whatever. Anyway, don't forget, folks. Thank you so much for joining us on the Highside Hustle. Don't forget, we'll be back next Thursday night with another great episode. We'll let you know who the guests are. Hopefully, if you run Lincoln this weekend, we'll have the winner of the icebreaker on. If not, we'll find some other great guests to have on here. Thanks a lot for everyone joining us here tonight. Don't forget, you can support the National Racing Network on Patreon. A couple bucks a month. We'll get you into a lot of different stuff here, Discord, all that other kind of stuff. See what kind of stuff we're talking about here. So go support the Discord or the National Racing Network on Patreon. Boom. And I think some articles, 12 hours in advance or something like that too, Chris?
That's correct.
They were talking about that. There you are. Perfect. And then also don't forget to support us here on the National Racing Network. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook at National Racing Network, on YouTube, National Racing Network as well over there. Give us a subscribe and a thumbs up over there if you like this video. And then also don't forget for the Highside Hustle, Highside_Hustle on Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter at Bert Wojcik, and Adam Rubright is
at Rubright22 on Twitter and Instagram.
Point the other way.
I think that wraps. What's that?
I'm pointing the right
other
way,
way, Bert. Thank you, Adam. No. Oh my God. This is where the producer has to bang his head against the wall.
For the Highside Hustle here, folks, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thanks to our guests tonight, Justin Henderson, Mike Wagner, and Kyle McFadden. We'll join you next week here again on the Highside Hustle and National Racing Network. So for Adam Rubright, Chris Graham, my name is Bert Wojcik. Keep on hustling. We'll see you guys next week.